Treatise 3 of the Theological Tractates by Boethius, translated by H.F. Stewart and E.K. Rand. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. How substances can be good in virtue of their existence without being absolute goods. From the same to the same. How substances can be good in virtue of their existence without being absolute goods. You ask me to state and explain somewhat more clearly that obscure question in my heptameds concerning the manner in which substances can be good in virtue of existence without being absolute goods. You urge that this demonstration is necessary because the method of this kind of treatise is not clear to all. I can bear witness with what eagerness you have already attacked the subject, but I confess I like to expound my heptameds to myself, and would rather bury my speculations in my own memory than share them with any of those pert and frivolous persons who will not tolerate an argument unless it is made amusing. Wherefore, do not you take objection to the obscurity that waits on brevity, for obscurity is the sure treasure-house of secret doctrine, and has the further advantage that it speaks a language understood only of those who deserve to understand. I have therefore followed the example of the mathematical and cognate sciences, and laid down bounds and rules, according to which I shall develop all that follows. First, a common conception is a statement generally accepted as soon as it is made. Of these there are two kinds. One is universally intelligible, as for instance, if equals be taken from equals, the remainders are equal. Nobody who grasps that proposition will deny it. The other kind is intelligible only to the learned, but it is derived from the same class of common conceptions as incorporeals cannot occupy space and the like. This is obvious to the learned, but not to the common herd. Second, being and a concrete thing are different. Simple being awaits manifestation, but a thing is and exists as soon as it has received the form which gives it being. Third, a concrete thing can participate in something else, but absolute being can in no wise participate in anything else, for participation is effected when a thing already is, but it is something after it has acquired being. Fourth, that which exists can possess something beside itself, but absolute being has no admixture of aught beside itself. Fifth, merely to be something and to be something absolutely are different. The former implies accidents, the latter connotes a substance. Sixth, everything that is participates in absolute being through the fact that it exists. In order to be something, it participates in something else. Hence that which exists participates in absolute being through the fact that it exists, but it exists in order to participate in something else. Seventh, every simple thing possesses as a unity its absolute and its particular being. Eighth, in every composite thing, absolute and individual being are not one and the same. Ninth, diversity repels, likeness attracts. That which seeks something outside itself is demonstrably of the same nature as that which it seeks. These preliminaries are enough, then, for our purpose. The intelligent interpreter of the discussion will supply the arguments appropriate to each point. Now the problem is this: things which are good. For all the learned are agreed that every existing thing tends to good, and everything tends to its like. Therefore things which tend to good are good. We must, however, inquire how they are good, by participation or by substance. If by participation, they are in no wise good in themselves, for a thing which is white by participation in whiteness is not white in itself by virtue of absolute being. So with all other qualities, if then they are good by participation, they are not good in themselves. Therefore they do not tend to good. But we have agreed that they do, therefore they are good not by participation but by substance. But those things whose substance is good are substantially good, but they owe their actual being to absolute being. Their absolute being therefore is good. Therefore the absolute being of all things is good. But if their being is good, things which exist are good through the fact that they exist, and their absolute being is the same as that of the good. Therefore they are substantial goods, since they do not merely participate in goodness. But if their absolute being is good, there is no doubt but that, since they are substantial goods, they are like the first good, and therefore they will have to be that good. For nothing is like it save itself, hence all things that are God, an impious assertion. Wherefore things are not substantial goods, and so the essence of the good does not reside in them, therefore they are not good through the fact that they exist. But neither do they receive good by participation, for they would in no wise tend to good, therefore they are in no wise good. This problem admits of the following solution. There are many things which can be separated by a mental process, though they cannot be separated in fact. No one, for instance, can actually separate a triangle or other mathematical figure from the underlying matter, but mentally one can consider a triangle and its properties apart from matter. Let us therefore remove from our minds for a moment the presence of the prime good, whose being is admitted by the universal consensus of learned and unlearned opinion, and can be deduced from the religious beliefs of savage races. The prime good having been thus for a moment put aside, let us postulate as good all things that are, and let us consider how they could possibly be good if they did not derive from the prime good. This process leads me to perceive that their goodness and their existence are two different things. For let me suppose that one and the same substance is good, white, heavy, and round. Then it must be admitted that its substance, roundness, colour, and goodness are all different things. For if each of these qualities were the same as its substance, weight would be the same thing as colour or goodness, and goodness would be the same as colour, which is contrary to nature. Their being, then, in that case, would be one thing, their quality another, and they would be good, but they would not have their absolute being good. Therefore, if they really existed at all, they would not be from good nor good. They would not be the same as good, but being and goodness would be for them two different things. But if they were nothing else but good substances, and were neither heavy nor coloured, and possessed neither spatial dimension nor quality, beyond that of goodness, they, or rather it, would seem to be not things, but the principle of things. For there is one thing alone that is by nature good, to the exclusion of every other quality. But since they are not simple, they could not even exist at all, unless that which is the one sole good willed them to be. They are called good simply because their being is derived from the will of the good. For the prime good is essentially good in virtue of being. The secondary good is in its turn good because it derives from the good whose absolute being is good. But the absolute being of all things derives from the prime good, which is such that of it being and goodness are rightly predicated as identical. Their absolute being therefore is good, for thereby it resides in him. Thereby the problem is solved, for though things be good through the fact that they exist, they are not like the prime good for the simple reason that their absolute being is not good under all circumstances, but that things can have no absolute being unless it derive from the prime being, that is, the prime good. Their substance therefore is good, and yet it is not like that from which it comes, for the prime good is good through the fact that it exists, irrespective of all conditions, for it is nothing else than good. But the second good, if it derived from any other source, might be good, but could not be good through the fact that it exists, for in that case it might possibly participate in good, but their substantial being, not deriving from the prime good, could not have the element of good. Therefore, when we have put out of mind the prime good, these things, though they might be good, would not be good through the fact that they exist, and since they could not actually exist, unless the true good had produced them, therefore their being is good, and yet that which springs from the substantial good is not like its source, which produces it. And unless they had derived from it, though they were good, yet they could not be good through the fact that they exist, because they were apart from good and not derived from good, since that very good is the prime good, and is substantial being and substantial good and essential goodness. But we need not say that white things are white through the fact that they exist, for they drew their existence from the will of God, but not their whiteness. For to be is one thing, to be white is another, and that because he who gave them being is good, but not white. It is therefore in accordance with the will of the good that they should be good through the fact that they exist, but it is not in accordance with the will of one who is not white that a thing have a certain property making it white in virtue of its being, for it was not the will of one who is white that gave them being, and so they are white simply because one who was not white willed them to be white. But they are good through the fact that they exist because one who was good willed them to be good. Ought then, by parity of reason, all things to be just because he is just who willed them to be? That is not so either, for to be good involves being, to be just involves an act. For him being and action are identical, to be good and to be just are one and the same for him. But being and action are not identical for us, for we are not simple. For us, then, goodness is not the same thing as justice, but we all have the same sort of being in virtue of our existence. Therefore, all things are good, but all things are not just. Finally, good is a general, but just is a species, and this species does not apply to all. Wherefore some things are just, others are something else, but all things are good. End of Treatise 3.